Welcome back everyone to our item series code along. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look on how we're going to get these values from our database right here on an item attached to an actual item that we spawn in game. If we go ahead and start it up, we have to fix that. But looking at it, we actually don't need a lot of these values for the actual item in game. And the actual item in game is really just an object with a few properties on it that some can be tweaked and some can't. So we can actually make this really simple. Now this isn't really part of the object or the item database system. This is going to be part of the inventory system. So basically the item system stores things in database, and then any other system that you're using with it will pull all this information out and do whatever it wants to it. So I think actually the best way to approach this is to come back into our folder structure. I'm going to come into the demo1 folder, go into the scripts, and I'm actually going to create a new script. I'm just going to call it weapon. Now this is not part of the item series, this is just part of the demo. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up in MonoDevelop. And I know I only ever want one, so I'm actually going to go ahead and add that tag because, well, not the multi-line one, just because you should get in the habit of using them. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the methods. I do not need any of these. And let's go ahead and take a look at what properties we actually need to keep for a weapon. Actually, well, no, we'll leave it like this. So what properties do we need for a weapon? Let's go look at the database. Now name, we don't need to save that to the weapon. The game object itself gets that property. The icon, yeah, we better save that to it. So we're going to need an icon. And we know that's nothing more than just a sprite. So let's go ahead and make that one there. So we need a sprite. And for now, I'm going to keep them all public. So sprite, and we'll just call it icon. I'm going to use a capital because I'm probably going to be using some getters and setters later. So we'll go ahead, we'll save that off. I'm going to need an icon. I will need a value and burden. And those were both integers. We'll save that off. We'll keep going down. Quality. We do want to keep this. Now, how do we want to actually store this on the item? It can't be changed. At least in my game, it won't be changed. If you do need the ability to change it, we'll have to add a method that allows you to change it, which isn't that hard. You can even just leave it public and have it changed that way. But for me, I guess I'm just going to save it as an IS quality for now. If we need something a little more advanced later, we can add it. Now, I can't add IS quality until I have the namespace. And I kind of want to get around not having to include the namespace for the actual weapon itself. So let me go ahead and look. We have the name, and we have the icon, which is going to be the representation behind the actual item itself. So this icon up here is just a sword, and this would be the background. So like an orange background or a blue background. We don't really need to tie the name to it. We could just have the actual name of the icon itself. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. So we'll just go ahead and make another sprite for this one. And this, well, we're going to make it public. And I'll call it quality. Save that off. Looks like I'm missing a parenthesis down there. We'll go ahead, we'll save that off. We'll come back in. So that takes care of this. Min damage, which for now is just the base damage. It's just, it doesn't have a min and max right now. That's something we'll want to work on a little bit later. But for now, we do have a min damage. Durability is going to be changing. Max durability is not. We have the prefab and equipment slots. So all those we're going to want as well. So I am going to go ahead, create a public int. And hey, I'm going to stick with minimum damage. And what was the next one? Durability, max durability. Make sure this is capitalized. And like I said before, these are probably going to be switched over to getters and setters. This one's not green. Oh, no, it went green now. MonoDevelop. All right, and a prefab. We don't actually have to save the prefab because this is actually going to be attached to the prefab. So we don't even save that. We do need to save the equipment slot. And this is one of those things where I originally wanted to have the equipment slot be part of the item system, but really logically it should be part of your inventory system or whatever system spawns the item out. I'm actually going to go ahead and leave that there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual weapon. the IS weapon and equipment slot. Where is this declared? All right, so it is declared over here in BurgZerg, in the BurgZerg arcade namespace. Okay, well, we'll leave that there. We're going to jump back into our weapon script, and that means we will need BurgZerg arcade.item system, and we'll create a public equipment slot, and I'm just going to call it E slot. No, we'll type it out. Equipment slot. Save that off, and I believe that's everything, correct? Yes, it appears to be. Now let's go ahead where this error is, and the component we're now going to add will be weapon. Let's go ahead, we'll save this off. This should get rid of this. We'll start it back up. Go ahead, we'll spawn something. The sword, we'll go ahead and take a look here. It did spawn the weapon. So all we have to do now is just transfer all of the values from the database to here. So let's go, we'll jump back into MonoDevelop and do just that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave a space there because now we're gonna have to start changing stuff. We're gonna need a reference to this component as well. Does add component return anything? It does actually return a component. So can I grab that? So I'm going to say weapon, my weapon is equal to that. And let's see if that actually, I might have to typecast it. Yeah, it looks like it worked. All right, so we'll go ahead and say my weapon dot, what was the first one? I already forget. Well, let's go ahead. Well, I don't want to keep tabbing back and forth between, so I'm actually just going to copy it. Coming down here, just make a comment, paste it in, then comment it back out. There we go. And icon is going to be equal to isw.icon. And make note here that, it is returning a sprite. We've got to make sure we line these up. And I just want to quickly save that off. Let's take a look in the database. I just want to make sure we have at least one with everything picked up. All right, so make that a check mark. It's got all values for everything. Great. Later on, we should make some defaults. So if we don't fill something out, but then again, do we want that here in the actual database? Yeah, that'd probably be the better way to do it. So we'll go ahead and do the sort. Or sorry, it's the fan. The fan has everything. So we'll start it up. Go ahead, spawn a fan. Let's go take a look at the fan. And there we go. It did copy over. So let's go ahead. We'll grab the rest of these values. So my weapon dot, looks like value is next. It's equal to isw dot value, and of course my weapon dot burden is going to be equal to isw dot burden. Next up will be quality, which I believe we just saved as an icon, right? Or sprite, sorry. Yeah, we're just saving the sprite, and we want to later on change those sprite names to the rarity. So then again, we actually did go ahead and grab a quality up here, or a reference to BurgZerg system. I kind of like having a reference to the name and the actual icon. I don't think I'll ever be changing it, but this is actually something we could go ahead and change in the actual database itself. Is if we go ahead and name each rarity, but then again, it's tied to that type. I think we can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and actually change that in the database in one of the updates. So next will be quality. It's going to be equal to isw.quality.icon, which returns a sprite. Next is the min damage. So my weapon.min damage is equal to isw.min damage. We'll get the point here. Let's jump right to the end. And last but not least, my weapon.equipment slot. Oops, where is it? I spelled it wrong. Well, let's go ahead, we'll fix that. Let's go ahead and assign it there. And that is equal to isw.equipment slot. Save that off, and let's go ahead and SQL declaration. Spell this correctly. EQ. All right, save that off. Let's come back in. And I think that's everything, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, none of them are serialized. I probably should serialize them, but we don't have to right now. Let's go ahead. We'll stop that. Hit play. Let's go ahead, spawn a fan. And there we go. We now have all of the values that are necessary for our weapon to function. And we can move on to the next database where we start adding, well, different types of databases like armor. I don't remember what else there was, but there's a few others. Let's see, do we have any that doesn't have a value? No, they all have at least something in it. I thought we had some that didn't. Let's go, we'll stop it. I'm gonna go take a look at fan again. Let's go ahead and get rid of, I don't know, check mark. Let's make it none. It's one of those things that we might want to check to see if it's equal to none. Then, go ahead and assign a default. I think I actually want to do that in the database itself. That way there, we could just assign a default, which will be named default. And then we can just check when we're instantiating the object. If its icon is named default, then we know we have to update it to whatever our special icon set is going to be for our game. But for now, let's go ahead. We'll try this out now. The fan still spawns. Okay. And it's got nothing. Alrighty, there we go. So we're done this one here. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next database, which is, what do we got next? Let's take a look here. So next we're going to move on to, I guess, I was going to do armor next, but I think what we'll do is do potions next. Just because it's a bit different than weapons and it should be pretty quick. But anyway, as always, let me know down below in the comments as your system is going, and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And thank you for sharing this on your social media sites, as it really does help me out. I'll see you over in the next video. Bye-bye.